Welcome to Cooking Across America. Today we're in the Northeast and we're making Dublin Coddle. And today I don't get to cook alone. I'm cooking with Andy, who has a reputation around the Eckhart staff for his very good cooking. So Dublin Coddle is a dish that came over with Irish immigrants. And there was a large Irish immigration in the early 1800s due to a potato famine. About 1 million people died of famine, another million or so immigrated. Over the next 40 years or so, more than half the population of Ireland left. At one point in time in the 1800s, there were more Irishmen living in New York City than there were in Dublin. This is how we come to have Dublin Coddle as an American food.
These sausages here seem to be some of the closest, what did you say, replications to what they might have used. The recipe calls for just kind of cooking them and then cutting up later, but I think since the way we had the pan, I'm just going to cut them up beforehand. So we don't need to add any oil to this because the fat that's in the sausages is going to come out a little bit more easily.
Sausage is cooking over there. I'm working on some potatoes over here. It calls for 4 potatoes, and I've got 4 very large russet potatoes. And to the traditional way of making a Dublin Coddle, it was cooked up on Thursday night because you wanted to use up all the meat in your house before Friday, when in Catholic tradition of the day, there was no meat on Friday, so you cooked it up on Thursday to eat it, and what you didn't eat on Thursday, you kept as leftovers for Saturday. Especially perhaps if you went out to go enjoy the pub.
The recipe instructs us to not have these cook all the way through, just to brown them on 2 sides. So I'm just going to kind of keep turning these around a little bit. This at home. Alright, so I've taken the sausage out. There wasn't a whole lot of fat left in there at the moment, so I added a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of flour and get that stirred around. Let's try a cup for now. Should I put more in there?
I think start with the cup. Next up would be the potatoes, and the sausages and the onions can go back in.
Potatoes. If you can spot it, these have been nuked a little bit. Shorten the cooking time and all that. Sausages. Back in the pool, friends. All the onion. That seems about a clove. The world likes garlic.
So the recipe calls for bacon, and while slices of bacon, American style, would be perfectly fine, a closer approximation to what they have in Ireland would be Canadian bacon, which comes in thinner slices, so I'm just cutting it in kind of chunks. I think it will do that once it's in the pot. If you're following along at home and using the recipe, you will notice it calls for some Guinness, which would be lovely to do. But cooking here at the library that was founded by a man who believed in temperance in his day and put a clause in the library's deed that said no alcohol on the property, we're using the alternative, which is some more broth. I would just finish it off. That will get you your 4 cups that you need.
300?
Oh,
355? 400.
There we go. I'm looking forward to tasting. This is a little bit of my heritage, since my grandmother came over from Ireland just over 110 years ago this year.
Teaspoon dried thyme. Alright, we'll go with about 2 tablespoons since this isn't fresh. Now you want to make sure those spices that you fold them in. Fold in the spices. Or just mix them in well. And black pepper to taste. Lid on this and let it cook down for about 30 minutes. The recipe talks about baking it in a Dutch oven in the oven for hours. But in that 30 minutes time, you can go do something that you don't want to do, like fold the laundry or do the dishes. Alright, it's been about a half an hour, and again, it's been less time because we actually microwaved our potatoes. So you can kind of like spear these and tell that they're already cooked and everything. You want more?
No, I'm good.
There you go. Oh.
What? It's the sort of thing I imagine would taste good on a damp day in Ireland. So there you have it, cooking across America. Dublin Coddle from the East Coast, land of the Irish immigrants. Cooked by Andy.